This started out as my husband's old jeans and I decided to turn them into a vest. I used this top to cut a simple pattern and put the vest together. Then I had a lot of fun covering it with Sashiko stitching. This is part one, where I show you how I made the vest and added the Sashiko. So let's get started. This will be the lining, but it's also my test waistcoat. I cut around the shape of an article of clothing I already have. That's the back. You may hear me say vest or waistcoat in this video. I kind of use both. For the front opening, I used the edge of a paper pattern that I had of a waistcoat that actually didn't fit me, but it gave me the right shape. Then I sewed it down the side seams and at the shoulder seams. That way I could put it on and see if there was any adjustments that I needed to make. I pinned it first and then I used a really large stitch because I knew I was going to take the stitching out again. The only adjustment was to make the armhole slightly larger. Then I unpicked it because I'm going to use this as my pattern. These were my husband's jeans. They don't fit him anymore, they're quite a large size. The first thing I had to do was unpick them, take out the zip. Had to open up the side seams on the leg. And of course I just used my seam ripper, took some of the hem out. Before I did any cutting, I laid all of my lining pieces in different areas of the jeans to decide which was the best place to cut things out of. I folded this neck piece down because I'm going to make a saddle. And here's the back cut out without it. This will be the centre back seam. I just open it up here. Do you see that I purposely left the bottom stitching on there? That's actually the jeans hem. That will make a line across like a regular jeans jacket would. I've just got to put a couple of little stitches there. Separately, I'll cut this shape out in the denim. I'll add 1/2 inch seam allowance along this bottom folded edge. Once I've cut that saddle section out of the other denim, it'll be sewn along here. This is the front. I'm cutting the right and left separately here. I don't have a piece of jeans that's actually quite wide enough to cut the front out. So I'm going to add a little piece in at the side. If I fold this back, you can see just where that little piece is going to fit in. And I'm going to follow that curved seam below there. And I've already pinned this one back. I want these two to be exactly the same, so I'm just making sure they're a mirror image where I've folded them. And I've checked carefully here that I've got the right sides of both fabrics facing each other, otherwise I'll have 2 left fronts or 2 right fronts. So now this top one, the lining and the denim are already cut. I just have to make this one match. And I'm being careful here not to cut into this fold because I am going to use this as my lining. Now I could just have cut this seam off, but I'm going to keep that curve. I think that seam will look nice down the side of the vest. What do you think? First though, I do have to take some of this stitching out because I need to take that little extra piece of fabric out that sits behind the seam there. So I'm just going to carefully unpick that. And I do have some orange thread, so I'll be able to put a new stitching line there and it'll look just the same. I've got that off there now and I'm ready to add the extra side piece of fabric. I haven't cut this to size, I'm just taking a piece that I know is big enough and I'm going to pin it in place. And now I'm sewing over the stitch line that I can still see there, and I'm using the orange thread. Do you see that? You won't be able to tell that's not the original stitching. And then back down the other side to give that double line stitching. Now I'm going to lay my front back on here, and when I open out the pinned part there, I'll be able to cut exactly the right size. And that's added now, and I'll do the same with both sides. Before I assemble the jacket, I have one more thing to do here. This is the back, and remember I'm going to put that little saddle above here. But there is a little bit of unpicked stitching, and I'm just going to hand sew that down. It's just a couple of inches, because if you remember, this was the bottom of one of the legs. Once I've done this, it'll be ready for me to add that top part of the back neck, and then I can put this whole waistcoat or vest together. Can you see that centre part that I'm just kind of sewing down there onto the seam? And I've added that top part of the neck on there now. And along the seam there, I actually just used the orange thread again and did a row of stitching over the original stitching. Now I can just assemble. Jess will move out the way. I can assemble this. I'm just going to put the front to the back, right sides together. Sew the side seams and shoulder seams. Now these edges will fray because I'm going to be handling this a lot while I'm working on the Sashiko. So I'm just going to get on the sewing machine and do a zigzag all the way around. Finally, the fun part, deciding on the Sashiko what I want to do. I'm going to start with this saddle part at the top of the back neck. I have a few choices here. I've decided on this one just in this area. So I'm placing it centrally. And I'm going to just put some marking lines, and this is just to help me position it when I move that little square over so that my pattern lines up along this top back. So that diagonal line is following the diagonal on the little square of the template. And I'm putting another one on the other side. And of course I'm using my white iron-off heat erasable pen. I'll move the template over to this side once I've marked all this centre, and then the same on the other side. So I'm just going to mark in all these little areas now, which is a little bit time consuming. That shows up really well. And now I'm going to position this other side using that line that I drew. I'll do all the markings across this back area and then we'll do some Sashiko on there. I'm using this white Sashiko thread. I really like the white on the dark denim. I'm having to give this a bit more of a tug than I usually do. Okay, got it out. And I've got my Sashiko thimble already here. I am beginning with a knot because there's going to be a line in here, so the back isn't going to show. And then I'm going to do this exactly the same way that I do any other Sashiko. So I'm going to work along here in lines. Every little row of stitches I'm going to do my tension control. So I'm going to stroke it 3 times with my thumb. And you can also just stretch the fabric a little bit. That's another way of achieving the same result. Now denim is not as prone to puckering as some other fabrics, but you may still get a little bit, so it's just better to be on the safe side and follow the same practice. And on the back, leave these little carrying stitches a little bit loose. And this is such a relaxing thing to do. I'm going to sit in front of the TV most of the time and do this. I'm going to really enjoy it. I'm planning on putting a lot of Sashiko on this jacket, different patterns. I'm probably not going to show you every single one, but I just wanted to quickly show a little bit of method here for somebody who hasn't done very much Sashiko in the past. I particularly enjoy doing Sashiko on denim fabric. It seems really easy to work with and to have a good result. You could just decorate a jacket you already own. And of course, if you make this vest, waistcoat, you can use whatever patterns and designs you want to do. It's so easy to make these unique. And I'm also going to add a little bit of borrow on here, maybe a pocket, using the borrow and Sashiko. I'll decide on that later. That will be in the part 2 video. I thought this would be too long to make the whole thing in one long video. In part 2, I'll do some borrow and I'll put the lining in and just show you how to finish off. And here's that Sashiko section complete. And I really like the look of that. I like that pattern. This is the next section I'm going to do. This is that little insert that I put in. I'm just going to do a strip from this template here down the side. This particular heat erasable pen is a Jousius. Looks a little pale, doesn't it? But it will darken. Do you see that? The white becomes clearer as you watch. And I'm just going to continue marking down this side. And I am going to do the other side to match, so it'll be the same. And that Sashiko stitch is complete now. The method and everything was the same. I think that's why it's so relaxing. There isn't a lot of different stitches to learn. I'm going to do some planning for the front here. So on the front it is important that the pieces line up properly. Otherwise, when you put your designs on there, if you're wanting them to match, they're going to look off center, and that won't be a good look. So I'm going to put a pocket on. This is a pocket from the jeans, and I'm actually not going to use this. I'm just using it as a guide because I want it to fairly line up with the pattern I'm doing on the other side of the waistcoat. Now I'm happy with that, and while I've got it all laid flat here, I'm just going to draw some guidelines. And this will help me later when I want to put my other Sashiko patterns on here. I'm actually just using a ceramic pencil for this. You'll see me going over it more than one time, and this will gradually just wear off. There'll be no stitch line on this. If the heat erasable pen leaves a possible trace of a line, the stitching hides it. I want to make sure this will disappear completely. Now I'll put this template back on and I'm ready to mark the design. I'm also thinking about what I'm going to put above this. I really like this particular template. I'm not going to show all the drawing again though. And I've decided just to put some straight lines both above and below that. I'm going to do all the marking in this little area now, and then I'll just do all the Sashiko all at once, just in this section. When you can put templates together to make a design, that just enhances everything, I think. And I'm ready to do the Sashiko on this now. I've used this template before, and this is a really nice design to sew. And then the straight lines, that'll be quite quick and simple. Now I used the markings that I'd already put to make sure that this was going to be level on both sides, because I've drawn a couple of diagonal lines and I am putting a pattern in between those lines. I really think one of the pitfalls of doing something like this is not getting everything lined up nicely on the front. And I just wanted to draw your attention to that so that when you make your own designs, you can think about that and you'll be more pleased with your result. I think you can tell I didn't really have a design concept at all for this. I'm just looking at it and seeing at the time what I think I would like to do next on it. Not much of a planner when I do Sashiko. I'm thinking about maybe putting something like this on this area up here. As you can see, I've laid out two different ones there, and I think I'm going to do two different ones. I've moved on to the back now, and I'm choosing which designs to put back here, beginning with this one. You can see I've already stitched the other side. I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to do a grid pattern. So I'm actually just using a ruler and drawing this on. So you have to use your little inch marks and mark the little dots to keep your grid straight. And I actually have a lot of trouble doing this. You can see I've made a mistake already there. It's a good job this will iron off, so that won't show in the end. My aim here is to mark this grid into even squares. This is one time when the white marker is a little bit frustrating, and it's a little bit more difficult when the lines don't show up straight away. Now I've done that part, I'm going to draw some diagonals in between. I'm just going to stop there and show you what I'm aiming for, which is this pattern. In each little square, I drew diagonal lines, and I did measure these so that they would be even. And it forms this overall diamond. I'm just isolating a square there. You can see I've already started doing Sashiko on there. And I'm just laying out, you can see that section there finished now. And I just wanted to show that you don't have to use templates. You can do grid designs, draw your own. It all depends what you enjoy. And down here I'm going to do something else a little different. I used to use this method a lot, but since templates are so easily available now, I don't do it as much. And this is putting a design on using white carbon paper. Some books will give you printed designs that are there for you to use, and so you can trace them or you can draw your own, and this is how to get this onto the fabric. So you put the carbon paper white side down, then you put your drawing or tracing on top of it. Come on, Jess. I don't know why he's so interested in this today. This is a cute little Japanese boat. I'm just using a dry pen as a stylus for this. You could use a coloured ballpoint. That way you would know if you had already drawn on the lines. You do have to press really hard though to get a decent line transferred onto the fabric. Some carbon paper is better than others, and it does tear easily, and I got a great tip from a viewer. She suggested reinforcing the wrong side of the carbon paper with something like packing tape so it doesn't tear so easily. Now, I haven't done that here, but it's a great idea, so I'm passing it along. Now it's on there though, I think it looks too small. That's disappointing. The Sashiko and the outer shell of the jacket is all done. You can see there's some of the inside, but that will be covered up by the lining. And I'm going to end the video here. In part 2, I'll show you how to put the lining in and adding some borrow. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching.